Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my review for Man of Steel. And this review I will keep to be a non-spoiler review, so for anyone who has not seen the movie yet, don't worry, I'm not going to ruin it for you. I won't leak anything or anything of the sort that will ruin the movie experience for you. So, I finally got a chance to see Man of Steel. Been desperately wanting to review it and see it, for the longest time. Finally got a chance to do so after dealing with the basement flood and all that kind of stuff. I want to thank you guys on the channel for the support, all my subscribers and everything for just saying take your time, Trev. Get back to doing videos when you're ready. I really appreciate it, guys. I want to say thank you. So this was one that I wanted to do almost right off the bat. Definitely wanted to check out the movie and definitely want to review it because I am a pretty big Superman fan. Of all the comic book characters out there, Superman really was the first superhero. Yeah. So, being that he was the first, you got to pay respect to that. There's a lot of people out there that don't like Superman. I do. I just think it's really hard to do Superman properly. Extremely hard. Superman Returns is a good example of that, in which I think that movie was an absolute disaster. I mean, it may have had some cool effects, but overall, my thoughts on the movie are basically that it was a disaster. It was a terrible movie, and it didn't do justice to Superman. So does Man of Steel do justice to Superman? It does. I think it does. It's hard to really, because Superman's such an iconic character. He's so huge. It's kind of similar to Batman in that way. It's hard. I think it's really hard for them to really make a movie that captures the essence of Superman and really nails it. This one, I would say, it does a pretty damn good job of it. I don't know if it feels quite epic enough to have Superman, to be a Superman movie. It definitely does its best, I would say, and I think they did the best they probably could, and it turned out really well. I really enjoyed the movie quite a bit. In terms of like a score, I probably would give it an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10 because I thought it was really well done. The action sequences are lots of fun, really well done. I think it was a good choice to choose General Zod as a villain for the movie. We've seen enough Lex Luthor. We've seen enough Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor in Superman Returns was, the problem with Lex Luthor is always, unless you give him some huge mech suit, how is he supposed to beat Superman? It kind of, when you see it happening, it's kind of like, yeah, but Superman, Superman's going to win. Here, Superman is really fun because he's facing long odds. Not only do you have one Kryptonian that he's facing, but General Zod has his own small army, or at least, group of Kryptonians that with alien technology, spacecraft, terraformers, different things like that is really cool to see. You really feel in this movie like Superman is facing a tremendous threat from Zod. And also, it's an interesting take because it's sort of like the first time Superman is starting to he's becoming Superman. Superman Begins type of thing. And so he hasn't really settled in on his own yet. He hasn't really got flying down 100% yet, or at least we don't get that feeling at the beginning of the movie that he has. We get to see some really cool scenes where he's kind of figuring that out and, flying around and doing some things and just kind of getting used to it. He's so used to holding back and not fighting back against people when they, bully him or get in fights with him. And there's a few scenes of people picking on Clark. And it's kind of funny because it's like, they don't realize what they're doing, but if he wanted to, he could kill them in one punch, type thing. Which is kind of an interesting take on it, too, to see how, Superman versus a lot of other characters that have superpowers just refuse to fight back, refuse to, but that's Superman, Boy Scout, that's who he is, he always has been like that. So it is true to the character in that sense, but at the same time, it brings some new elements to the character that I'm not used to seeing, specifically with his fathers. In his father's instance, of course, Jonathan Kent, played by Kevin Costner, and you have Russell Crowe, who is playing Jor-El. They both do an amazing job in this movie, and they add a lot of credibility to the movie and make it feel more legit because you have such legendary actors in there playing those very important roles for Superman and for Clark Kent. Kevin Costner is Jonathan Kent. Really interesting direction they go with that in the choice that he makes in the movie, and how that affects Clark later on, in his life and in becoming Superman and revealing himself to the world, or whether not to. So I think that was an interesting choice they took there. Also, Russell Crowe, who I didn't think was going to be in the movie very much, actually has a ton of scenes in the movie and is fantastic, I think. Especially the beginning, the whole origin. We all know Superman's origin. We've seen it probably 10 times over now. But they did it in an interesting way where they put some action into it. There was some great art, great CG, great visuals involved with that. So it really grabs you as a viewer and isn't just like, oh yeah, this is just another interpretation of Superman becoming Superman, yada, 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 whatever. We've seen it before, don't want to see it again. No, it really does, as you're watching it, grip you and make you want to see it because the art is, so great. Also, it sort of, I want to say, takes sort of like a one versus one approach more than a lot of the Superman origins stories you will have read in either the comics or wherever, TV series, video games, movies, anything like that, with the choice of General Zod, making General Zod be there from the beginning. Really make this feel like he's the true arch nemesis of Superman because he's a Kryptonian. He came from there. He was responsible for a lot of things that happened before the planet exploded, which we see at the beginning of the movie. So it really feels like, you have that sort of, I want to compare it to the 1989 Jack Nicholson Joker, where it's like Batman and him, essentially, they changed it for the movie so that the Joker in that creates Batman because he was the one who killed his parents, which is different from how it was in the comic books. This, I don't want to give anything away, but it kind of has that feel with General Zod because he is there from the beginning. He is involved in the creation of Superman, not necessarily in his birth or anything like that, but he was around during that time when he was born. So it makes it feel more like you have this one versus one rivalry between those two characters and arch enemies. Than it would just in a Superman comic book where you have the origin and then an issue way later you have General Zod introduced. It really feels like from the beginning these two were adversaries. Jor-El was an adversary of Zod, and and it really feels natural when it all comes down to it, and Fisk comes to cuff and they start to throw blows at the end of the movie. Which, by the way, the fight scenes are awesome in this movie. The CG doesn't let down. It is sometimes it does look a little bit, I don't know, because they create the whole thing in CG. But some of the scenes are so cool when you have Zod and Clark, and they're punching each other through buildings. They're smashing each other up. Their laser eyes, laser vision looks really cool because it's not just like a little beam. It's like an explosion coming out, like Cyclops. I would have from X-Men. I would have to compare it to. So it's really cool that you have that rivalry between Zod and Superman, and it really does feel like he is a perfect villain in this movie for it, and a great choice. I also like the story and sort of the questions and the theme of the movie, which is that should Superman become Superman? Will humanity accept him? Will they reject him? How are they going to feel about it? How's he going to feel? The whole Zod coming to Earth, alien invasion type thing. And I really enjoyed the take they did with that, where you have like this, you really get like that chilling, like, okay, these are aliens, they're coming here, they want to terraform, they want to, do all these things, and create Earth, turn Earth into a new Krypton. So yeah, so lots of interesting different themes, and you've got the alien invasion feeling there, because Superman, of course, is an alien. He's from Krypton, right? Sometimes I think we kind of forget that, especially in the comics and things like that. So it's nice to see that type of theme again, instead of him just facing Lex or another human or something like that he could break in a second. And definitely has some great fight scenes, some great artwork. The sound is good. Everything with the movie, I think, is done pretty damn well. In terms of the actors, Henry Cavill, I think, does a great job of playing Superman, Clark Kent, Kal-El. He looks a lot like Superman to me. He's pretty serious, and like the role is pretty serious. There's no joking around really in the movie, and it does take itself totally seriously, which I did like quite a bit, especially with the whole alien thing. And it's actually quite thrilling at certain parts when you see Zod come to invade and everything like that. It's kind of like, oh, this is kind of scary. You know, I kind of like that because it's so serious that it takes itself, that it is kind of scary. You know, as you're watching this, wow, that's awesome. You know. So he does play a really good Superman, I think, especially with the action scenes and everything like that. He looks the part, and the acting's on point from him. I think no problems there. Amy Adams is Lois Lane. She's okay. She was okay. To me, she doesn't look like Lois Lane. Her hair color is brown. I know I always get on hair color when it comes to comic book characters. I don't know why. I just do. I figure, you know, if it's a comic book character, you should have the same color hair as they have in the comic book series. I'm sorry. It's a simple thing. Hair dye costs $10 at Shoppers Drug Mart. You can go there, get one, and dye your hair the proper color to match the role. So, not just that, but she just doesn't look like Lois to me. Not that she's a bad actress or anything like that. She just doesn't look like her to me. So that's okay. Michael Shannon is General Zod. B-movie-ish, a little bit B-movie-ish, you know, and he also, to me, doesn't look like Zod. You know, when I think of General Zod, he doesn't look like him. He looks menacing and he looks evil and stuff when he's looking around and stuff. He's got the hair, you know, the hair is all down like this and he's all, you know, but, so he looks angry, he looks mean, but at the same time, it's like, he doesn't look like a general. He doesn't look like someone. He doesn't have the chin. He doesn't have the whole, you know, I am General Zod. You know. He doesn't have that whole general thing to him. He looks more like a recovering drug addict to me. You know, because yeah, he does. He really, you know, he does have that look. So I don't think he's right for the role. I don't know who I would put in as General Zod. But I wouldn't choose Michael Shannon. I'll tell you that right now. Not that he's a bad actor or anything like that. It's not his fault they gave him lines like the whole, I will find him, I will find him, I will find him 5 times over until he starts yelling it. Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is I didn't care for him. He was okay as Zod, but he definitely was nothing spectacular. He's no Heath Ledger, Joker, anything like that. He was pretty good. I'll just leave it at that. He was okay. Let's see. As I said before, Russell Crowe, amazing. Kevin Costner, amazing. Really glad they came on to give the movie some credibility. Also have Lawrence Fishburne in here. It's Perry White. And he did a really good job. I enjoyed seeing him in there, too. Another legendary actor there. And then you have another one of Zod's his female fighter for Ul, played by Antij Trey. And she was really good. I liked some of the fight scenes with her. Really cool. And that's pretty much it for the acting from me. I mean, there's lots of people involved in the movie, but in terms of the main ones, they all did a great job. Also, Diane Lane as Martha Kent. She did a great job as well, too, as Ma Kent, for sure. So the actors were all good. I would have switched out maybe Amy Adams as Lois Lane and maybe Michael Shannon as General Zod. But other than that, we're good to go. Henry Cavill did a great job. Better than Brandon Routh? Well, I don't know if it's fair to compare. I think they both do a fine job. He doesn't really look as much like Brandon Routh was picked because he looks just like Christopher Reeve. And he did a good job, I think. It wasn't his fault the movie sucked, you know, but Superman Returns. But Henry Cavill, you know, he does feel a lot like a modern age Superman because he's built, you know, he's bigger, he's more muscular, and he does, you know, he's got the chin, you know, the Superman stoic chin, you know. And it works. He fits the role. You know, he's a good actor, so it does work. The only thing is Zod, like I said. So that's in terms of the acting. In terms of the plot, I do like the plot. I thought it was really good, and I enjoyed the movie heavily. The fight scenes are on point. They're really well done. Some really exciting fight scenes and interesting choices that Superman has to make in the movie. Sort of a new take on it. Something that feels unfamiliar and feels new, and that's a good thing. Repetitiveness with comic book characters can be really bad because, I mean, they're constantly putting out comic books every month. You have maybe 3-4 different comic books that Superman will be in every month. You have video games, you have movies, you have cartoons, you have television series. You have all these different things. You don't want it to be repetitive, and it can get repetitive really quickly. This did not for me. Also wanted to mention the suit. I love the new Superman suit, the darker tones on it. Looks great. Really realistic, a lot more realistic, I think. And Zod's armor and everything like that. The sort of, I look at it as like a combination between like your Superman comic books and combine that with your H.R. Geiger Aliens artwork. Maybe combine that with anybody who's played World of Warcraft. You have Arthas, the Death Knight, who basically has this big black chunky chainmail armor. General Zod's armor and a lot of their armor looks just like that. Combine Arthas, Death Knight armor, with H.R. Geiger, Prometheus type stuff, and somewhere in between, and Superman, and somewhere in between, you have what this movie has. And I like it. I think it looks really cool. The visors, everything like that. It looks like it was inspired a lot by Aliens, Prometheus, all that kind of stuff with some of the ships and things like that. But it does look great, and I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was the best Superman movie we've seen since the Christopher Reeve first 2 Superman movies. Christopher Reeve will always be Superman, but Henry Cavill, he does a good job, and I do enjoy him as a Superman as well. So all in all, giving the movie an 8 out of 10. Like I said, did enjoy it. If you haven't seen it, you definitely should check it out. It's definitely a great movie. Does it do Superman justice? I think it does. Even though that's really hard to do, I think it does. And they're doing a sequel. Already they've announced they're going to be doing a sequel. So I'll be excited to look for that, see who the villain will be. Maybe we can do some discussion videos talking about who the villain should be and different choices and things like that. Lots of choices, lots of different choices. Superman has lots of villains. Definitely General Zod was a good pick for this one. Just wish they would have went with a different actor maybe. Let's see. I think that's about all I wanted to say about the movie. Did heavily enjoy it. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Did you like it? Did maybe some of you not like it? I know on Rotten Tomatoes right now, let's see. Superman Returns on Rotten Tomatoes got 75%. And Man of Steel got 56% on Rotten Tomatoes in terms of the review score. The audience was 82% like Man of Steel and only 67% like Superman Returns. I think it squashes Superman Returns and fixes Superman. I really do. They have finally fixed Superman. Wow. Yeah. Okay, I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.